I should have noticed it the first night we met. I should have seen the signs. But when you're lonely enough, you ignore things. You tell yourself you're imagining it. You convince yourself that what you saw or didn't see was just a trick of the light. Her name was Elena, and she was the most beautiful person I'd ever spoken to. We matched on a dating app 3 months ago. Her profile was simple. No group photos, no travel shots. Just one picture of her sitting on a bench at night, looking away from the camera. Her bio said, "I prefer the quiet hours." I messaged her first. I don't usually do that. I'm not confident enough. But something about her photo made me feel like she'd understand me. Like maybe she was lonely too. She replied within minutes. We talked for 2 weeks before we met in person. Long conversations that stretched into the early morning. She never video called. Always said her camera was broken. I didn't mind. I liked the mystery. I liked the way she wrote. Like every sentence was carefully chosen. She asked me questions no one else ever had. What scared me most? What I dreamed about when I was alone. What I'd change about myself if I could. I told her things I'd never told anyone. When she finally agreed to meet, she chose the place. A small coffee shop on the east side of town. The kind that stays open late and plays jazz quietly. She said she'd be there at 10 p.m. I remember thinking that was odd, but I didn't question it. I was just excited. I got there early, ordered a black coffee I didn't drink, watched the door. She walked in at exactly 10. I stood up to fast, nearly knocked over my cup. She was even more beautiful in person. Dark hair that fell past her shoulders, pale skin, eyes that seemed to catch all the dim light. She wore a long black coat even though it wasn't that cold outside. She smiled when she saw me. It was a small smile, almost sad. "You look nervous," she said as she sat down. "I am," I admitted. "Don't be. I'm nervous too." But she didn't look nervous. She looked calm, too calm, like she'd done this 1,000 times. We talked for 3 hours that first night, about everything and nothing. She didn't order anything, said she wasn't hungry. I noticed she kept her hands in her lap, that she barely moved. But her words were warm. She laughed at my jokes, touched my arm twice, leaned in when I spoke. When I walked her to her car, I tried to kiss her. She pulled back gently. "Not yet," she whispered. "I want to, but not yet." I watched her drive away and felt something I hadn't felt in years. Hope. We saw each other 5 times over the next 3 weeks. Always at night. Always her choice of location. Quiet places. Empty diners. Parks after dark. Once, a movie theater where we were the only 2 people in the screening. She never let me pick her up. Never invited me to her place. Always met me somewhere. I asked her about it on our 4th date. "I like my privacy," she said, not looking at me. "I've had bad experiences. I need to take things slow." I understood. Or I told myself I did. It was on our 6th date that I first noticed something was wrong. We were at a wine bar downtown. Small place. Romantic lighting. Mirrors along the back wall. We sat at a table near the window. She finally ordered something. A glass of red wine she barely touched. I was talking about my job. Something boring about deadlines and office politics. When I glanced at the mirror behind her, I could see myself clearly. The table, the window, the street outside. But where Elena should have been, there was nothing. Just an empty chair. I stopped mid-sentence, stared, blinked hard. Elena tilted her head. "Are you okay?" I looked at her. She was right there, across from me. Real and solid and present. I looked back at the mirror. Empty chair. Yeah, sorry. Just got dizzy for a second. She reached across the table, touched my hand. Her fingers were cold. Not cool, cold. Like she'd been holding ice. "Maybe you should drink some water," she said softly. I did. I drank the whole glass. When I looked at the mirror again, I made sure not to stare. Made sure not to let her see me looking. The chair was still empty. I told myself it was the angle, the lighting, some weird property of the mirror. But my hands were shaking when I picked up my wine glass. We left an hour later. She kissed me for the first time that night, in the parking lot under a broken streetlight. Her lips were soft and cold, and I felt something in my chest tighten. Something that wasn't quite excitement. When I got home, I sat in my car for 20 minutes before going inside. I wanted to call someone. My brother, my best friend from college. Anyone who could tell me I was being crazy. But what would I say? The girl I'm dating doesn't show up in mirrors. They'd think I was losing it. Maybe I was. I went inside and didn't sleep the night. The next day, I did something I'm not proud of. I looked her up online. Social media, public records, anything I could find. There was almost nothing. Her dating profile, An old Facebook account with no posts and 3 friends. No Instagram, no Twitter, no digital footprint at all. The Facebook photos were all at night, all grainy, all taken from at angles where you couldn't quite see her face clearly. I found one photo where she was tagged at someone's birthday party from 4 years ago. I zoomed in. She was standing in the background, barely visible, but what made my stomach drop was the mirror on the wall behind the group. Everyone in the photo was reflected. Everyone except the dark-haired girl in the back. I slammed my laptop shut, stood up, paced my apartment. This wasn't real. This couldn't be real. I called her. She answered on the second ring. "Hey," she said, her voice warm. "Normal, human. I was just thinking about you. Can I see you tonight?" "Of course. I was hoping you'd ask. We met at a diner on the north side. 24 hours. Fluorescent lights. Cracked vinyl booths." She slid in across from me and smiled. And for a moment, I forgot why I was afraid. "You seem tense," she said. "I'm fine. You're a terrible liar." The waitress came over. Middle-aged woman with tired eyes and a name tag that said Ruth. She pulled out her order pad. "What can I get you to?" "Just coffee," I said. Ruth looked at Elena. "And for you, on?" There was a pause. A long pause. Ruth was staring at my side of the booth, not at Elena. At the empty space where Elena should have been visible to her. "Miss?" Ruth said, looking confused. "She'll have tea," I said quickly. "Green tea." Ruth wrote it down slowly, still looking confused, then walked away shaking her head. I looked at Elena. She was watching me, not smiling anymore. "You saw that?" I said. "Saw what?" "She couldn't see you." Elena's expression didn't change. "You're imagining things." "Why?" She reached for my hand. I pulled it back. "What are you?" I whispered. She leaned back against the booth, for the first time since I'd met her. She looked tired, sad, old somehow, despite her young face. "I'm someone who's lonely," she said quietly. "Just like you." "That's not an answer." "It's the only one I can give you." Ruth came back with our drinks. She set down my coffee, then placed the tea on the table in front of the empty space across from me. She glanced at the seat, frowned, then walked away shaking her head. Elena picked up the teacup. I watched it float in the air from Ruth's perspective. Watched it rise to invisible lips. "You are not human," I said. "I was. Once." The diner suddenly felt too cold, too bright. I could hear every sound. The hiss of the coffee machine, the buzz of the lights, my own heartbeat. "What happened to you?" She set down the cup. "Do you really want to know?" I didn't, but I nodded anyway. "She died 8 years ago. Car accident. Quick, painless. Or it should have been. But something went wrong in those final moments. Some desperate wish. Some refusal to let go. She'd held on, not to life, but to something close to it. A shadow of existence. Enough to walk and talk and touch. Enough to feel lonely, but not enough to be real. She couldn't be photographed properly. Couldn't be seen in reflections. Couldn't be remembered clearly by anyone, except those she chose to reveal herself to. "I'm a ghost," she said simply. "I should have run, but I didn't." "Why me?" "Because you were lonely enough to see me." I felt something break inside my chest. "Is any of this real?" "I feel real when I'm with you." We sat in silence. "I should go," I finally said. She nodded. I stood up, started walking toward the door. "I am sorry I didn't tell you sooner. I just wanted to feel normal." I stopped, turned around. She was still sitting there, small, sad, barely existing. I walked back, sat down. "One more question." "Okay. Can you feel this?" I took her hand. A tear ran down her cheek. "Yes," she whispered. "And that's how I became the boyfriend of someone who doesn't exist."